There's a lot to unpack there. He sounds a little bit like Mourinho when he said finishing second with this Manchester United team is one of my greatest achievements in my career. And when you look at Manchester United now, Mourinho wasn't wrong. But some of the things, let's unpack it piece by piece, right? The red cards, we have a disciplinary issue. We've had one since Mikel's taken over. We've also been repeat offenders and we haven't done ourselves any favors. So, for example, the Declan Rice, it was Wolves, right? It feels like 2 years ago already, the red card. Then Trossard, literally the following week, kicks the ball away. That has to be something that is taken care of in-house during training that week. Be careful of these things. Don't let you get caught up in the moment. The VAR decisions and some of the refereeing decisions, I think we'll all agree, some of them were bogus. But this season, I think pretty much every single team, maybe barring 4 or 5, haven't been affected by bogus VAR decisions. It's another new part of the game. You can't make excuses. You have to adapt. Things are going to go against us. Unfortunately, for us, we're looked at and refereed at a little bit differently. I truly think that is the case. However, you still have to play the game. And in some of those games, we still had opportunities to win the game. And I feel like, Dan, I started off not really believing or being able to see the pathway with Mikel Arteta. And then for me, it was undeniable seeing the change and the effect in the club that he's had, from a culture change to player DNA and profile, connecting the fans, bringing us closer together, making us fall in love with players again. You know, we went from Kolasinac and Babastadopoulos and Mustafi to Saliba and Gabriel and Benjamin White. And the evolution was evident and there to see. So everybody was saying we can only judge him when he has his complete team together and a team becomes an image of the manager. Well, he talks about emotion a lot. I think sometimes he's shown too much emotion on the sideline, which spills over into a team, especially a younger team, and that affects how players handle things in big moments. When you're talking about those types of implications in the game, you also have to be prepared for them, right? So he can say we should be mid-table. I find that it's like making an excuse. Like, you know, when a parent says, you should have got an A, but it's okay to get a B. Enabling. And I feel like sometimes we mollycoddle ourselves too much and we enable ourselves too much as a club, as a fan base, our players. Like today, I responded to someone on Twitter when they were talking about Calafiori's young. He's only 22. He's 22. He's a grown man. There are 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds in our team performing and acting like men and carrying this team on their shoulders right now. So I feel like some of that is excuses at the same time. What's he going to say? Over my dead body. Of course, if he'd have come out defeatist, everyone would call him a bottler, a loser. But I think there's a fine balance in how he communicated kind of what he wanted to say and maybe not pointing the finger at some of the decisions that haven't gone our way. Why do I kind of give him a little bit of a yellow card on that? Preparedness. In football, you have to be prepared. And the truth is, if you really wanted to win the title and you really wanted to win the league, we would have invested in the summer and we would have invested in January. I'm somebody that's tried to be positive all season. You've come on my show, Dan. You've seen the shows. I've been given the team the benefit of the doubt, Mikel the benefit of the doubt, with all of these obstacles that we've had to overcome. But those obstacles would have been easier to overcome if we were better prepared. And it seems to me we're a little bit cut and paste. We're doing the same thing over and over again. The truth is, we haven't played well all season. I can think of maybe 3 games where I've been, wow, the 5-1 against Manchester City, the beating of West Ham away from home, the Liverpool 2-2, we should have won that, but I thought that we played really well in that game. The Champions League game away in Portugal, those games, I think we excelled and we played well. But the truth of it is we haven't played well this season. And we lost Bukayo Saka in December. We lost Kai Havertz after Dubai. We lost Martinelli prior to that. You've had opportunities to fix the problems, not only during the season, but before the season started too. Are you still? Am I still there? Sorry, there's yeah. Something really weird happened just to my computer. So we've kind of had the opportunities to fix these problems, and unfortunately, we haven't done that. Now, you can't complain about the last 2 years. He talks about the journey a lot, but at some point, the journey has to lead to a destination. And it's all well and good continually talking about the journey. But even when you're on a journey in life as a person, whether it's in your work, whether with your family, you have to reach the final destination. There has to be an end goal. And this season, right now, I'm a little bit more critical because I feel like we've had the opportunities to fix these problems and we haven't done so. And that's on ownership, the board, Mikel, and I feel for the players because it feels like they've been, ground to the ground.
Sophie, I would just say one thing. Would you say it's a disciplinary issue, or would you say it's been refereeing? Referees have been refereeing us differently, because, for example, the at the beginning of the season, there was a mandate to whatever they were trying to do to stop time wasting, and Arsenal were one of the teams that were harshly punished twice for a similar situation. Now, you could say maybe because we did it twice, we shouldn't have done that, or Trossard should have done better, but I'm looking at those two yellow cards offenses that they gave us the second yellow for with Declan Rice and Trossard, and saying those were extremely harsh, unprecedented. You don't see those ever again. Then you go to the Miles Lewis-Skelly red card, which was overturned. Luckily, we won that game. That was another
Mm-hmm.
incorrect decision. And then you go to the Saliba red card. You could, as much as everyone can argue if it's a red or if it isn't a red, we've seen that same situation be simulated within the same weekend with Tosin at Chelsea, not given. Similar situation, even worse, more egregious, higher up the pitch with Tottenham and Van de Ven, and still not given. So there's inconsistencies in refereeing, and I can say 5 out of the 5 red cards that we've had this season, 4 of them I believe are unjust.
Okay, so what makes you think we would win those games anyway? There's a
I,
juxtaposition to all of that, right? We're assuming that we would win those games.
Let me
Like,
tell you
I
why.
think it's a little bit arrogant of us as fans to just assume that because a decision goes our way, it doesn't go our way, we're going to win that game. What evidence do we have this season to show that we're capable of overcoming those hurdles and boundaries? We have not proven that this season. Last season, I would argue maybe, you know what? You may have a point. I think that team playing that way with those players, with everyone fit, maybe. But this season, we haven't shown that we can overcome. When the spotlight is on us, Egal, we have still got mental impotence. There is something about Arsenal that they cannot overcome being in the spotlight. And, we get criticized a lot, but we also load the gun with the ammo for people to fire it at us because we continually prove that when the spotlight is on us, we can't do it. You're losing 2-0 in a League Cup game to Newcastle, and you have to go away and fight to get to Wembley. That was really one of the most pathetic performances. And I'm not like a super harsh critic, but I just call it as I see it. You're playing at home against West Ham. Liverpool have given you a lifeline. Forget VAR, forget Michael Oliver. Play the game and play to win. And nobody had any passion, any type of guile in that match to prove that they could do that. So I understand what you're saying, and I totally respect that we've been screwed. But at the same time, what have we done as a team to illustrate that we can win those games?
I think momentum's a real thing, and in those games, the Brighton game at home, we had all the momentum. We were the one that just scored. I think we were 1-0 up at the time when Declan Rice got sent off. The Man City game, we had the momentum. I think it was 2-1 at the time. And we just got back into the game. We got the lead in that game. In the Bournemouth game, let's be honest, it was extremely early in the game. Going down to 10 men in that position does change everything. And even with 10 men, Sophie, I agree with you. We should have probably scored and done something more in that game. And then if we go to the most recent red cards, I think the Miles Lewis-Skelly one versus West Ham, fully deserved. No, you can't complain about. I can't complain about that one. And in certain things with the mentality of the players, I personally think the mentality of the players comes from the confidence they have on what's on the pitch, and they have confidence in their defense. With us having four,
I'll go through
our defense. Sorry, I just want to say our defense. Our defense was a hot mess against West Ham. Calafiori was put on skates by Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who is not that great. Okay, and our two centre backs. Big Gabby has been one of our saviours this season. Saliba's dropped off a little bit. We've got to talk about it honestly. They were caught. Declan Rice looked like he was running after I don't know what. And Jared Bowen scores from a header right in the centre of the 6-yard box. Everything is focused on the striking situation and how we're not scoring goals this season and how we've not played well up front. But the truth is our defense has regressed a little this season too. We found ourselves caught. And, we've got an 18-year-old who's now a first choice left back. We invest all this money in Calafiori and he can be dynamic going forward. But people have criticized Zinchenko, for not being a good defender. And Calafiori is doing similar things. So it's the shiny new toy that people want to defend. But I just feel like over the last few weeks, you can't defend the indefensible.
And so
I'll just say quickly, Egal, just 1 second.
Let me just finish off on this last point.
Go on.
My last thing. I'm not sitting here and saying the defense has regressed, because statistically, that's one category where we've stayed par over the last 3 years. The area where we've regressed is the attack. Year after year, the attack has gotten slightly worse or less focused on the attack. So I do think it's a trickle-down effect. Once your attack is no longer controlling the games, your defense is going to be more susceptible to chances. And if you don't have confidence in your attack winning you the games, we are so susceptible to the counter and and it's going to be, you're going to see.
Well, our midfield has protected the defense a lot too, Egal, and the midfield hasn't been performing well either. Let's be honest, we can't keep. We're playing a possession-based game that results in very little this season.
That's true.
2 players is all it takes for everything to fall apart, and Arsenal are suddenly losing games.
It's not 2 players
at home to 16th place West Ham. Is that good enough? So,
Brandon,
hang on, Egal.
Whilst
he can sit there in his press conference and claim to be the almighty, and Arsenal would be mid-table if it wasn't for the job that we're doing right now and the resilience that the players showed. Did they show any resilience at the weekend? Did they ever show any resilience and any fight when it's actually meaningful, like in meaningful points of the season? No.
Yeah.
And again, as I said, I won't solely blame the manager, because the players also have to hold accountability for this. But every single time it comes to crunch time, both sets, the set of players and the manager, fail to deliver.
Brendan, I disagree with you. Simply put, for you to disregard the fact that Arsenal's 4 best attacking players are all injured. Arguably, they're 4 best. You could disagree and say Trossard's better than majority of them.
Egal,
fair enough. But let me finish. When you say only Saka and Kai Havertz are out, well, you're also acknowledging that Saka and Kai Havertz are the guys who get majority of the goal contributions, who are at the end of majority of the chances that we create, is also a little bit disingenuous. That's almost like me saying, where would Liverpool be without Mo Salah and Cody Gakpo? We all know they would not be anywhere near the Premier League title if Mo Salah and Cody Gakpo were not playing.
Of course.
Then
they still have Diaz and Jota and
Sophie, but they're not as good, and they're not going to win you as many games as.
No, but what I'm saying is their backups. That's what we haven't done, right?
Even with
their backups are not better than ours.
No, they're not.
Egal, stop this, bro.
If you actually look at it, and you look at the outlier, which is Mo Salah, and you take out Bukayo Saka, and you go and then you look at Cody Gakpo, and you take out Kai Havertz, the rest of it is pretty much the same.
So is Sterling and Jesus not better? Sterling and Jesus better than Diaz and Jota?
This is where I do disagree.
Put Sterling and Chiesa 1 for 1. Okay.
This is where I do disagree.
Then you can go Jota. Then you can go Jota, Trossard. Right. Then you can go Nunez and Jesus. My opinion is that outside of Mo Salah, which is the extreme outlier, let's be 100% honest. Liverpool's attack is not that much superior to ours. What they have is they have an outlier in Mo Salah who's playing at one of the best in the world caliber level, and the rest of the team is quite average. That's why they want to get rid
can't
of
we get firing then and
Yeah, but
Liverpool
hang
can?
on.
But
Egal,
that argument
there
is
are
for
some-
last season. Last season, you could say that. This season, they've been far superior to us
There
up
are
front.
some points that I agree with you, Egal, right? There are some points. Egal,
Luis Diaz himself has been hit
Egal.
or miss.
There are some points
Darwin's
that I
been hit or
agree with
miss.
you on.
Jota's been injured. Chiesa's useless. What attack are you guys watching? It's Mo Salah's carrying them.
Egal, there are some points that I agree with you on, right? Yeah. When you say that Havertz and Saka are the two attacking players that are on the end of most of our, chances that we create, I agree with that. However, Trossard and Martinelli always rotate. We can agree on that, right? So there's not much difference there on that left-hand side. Yeah. Ethan Nwaneri has came in and he scored 7 goals in all competitions for Arsenal, 3 goals in the Premier League. He's contributed with assists as well. Okay, it's not at the rate that Saka was doing it for Arsenal, but I don't think there's any player out there at this current moment in time that wouldn't cost, millions and millions and millions of pounds that could do it at the rate that Saka's doing it. What I'm trying to get to is when you actually look at them attacking options, they're not as bad as what you think. It's just to me, the manager has to do something different to get the best out of the players he has at his disposal. We can't continue to play the same way without the players available. When we've got Saka, when we've got Havertz, it's okay to play that way. Although we have been very poor this season, but it's okay to play that way. Adapt. You have to adapt. If you're a top manager, you have to adapt. Yeah. And also just the last point as well, Dan, because I know you're going to want to move on to somebody else. When he sits there and says, "Over my dead body, are we giving up?" Yeah. What am I supposed to sit there and be grateful for that? Yeah. You're getting paid £15 million a year. This entire squad, apart from the 3 academy players and Neto, yeah, is all on £100,000 a week plus. I expect you to not give up, regardless of what the circumstances are. You play for Arsenal Football Club. You're the manager of Arsenal Football Club. Of course, you're not allowed to give up, even if the fans have. Yeah, you're supposed to be professionals.
If he would have really sat there and said, "Over my dead body," I wish he would have said, "Over my dead body" in the January transfer window. Over my dead body, are we not doing anything in this January transfer window? Because he is ultimately to blame as much as the others as well, because there is no doubting that he has not got a powerful voice at that football club.